Guten Abend, bonsoir, buonasera, hola. I don't think I've said it as sweetly and as perfectly as that. I don't know what episode this is, but I think
It
that
just
was
shows that rehearsing works.
brother, that's my best version out there. No one can say anything to me. People be taking a piss out of me. You don't know. But I think I cracked it. People, you're very, very welcome to another episode of Eurostars. Probably one of the busiest Eurostars potentially. We've got so much to get through. And I've enlisted the Avengers. Assemble. Everyone is here. We have Bilal, we have Sane, we have Ty, we have Michael, we have Judge Mo. Everyone is in the building. You're all very welcome, guys. Yeah, there is some static in the background. Is it still going, people? Let us know. Well, it should be calm now. I think it's calmed down now.
It's better now. Better.
Is it better now? It's okay
Yes.
now. People, you already know what to do. Smash the likes upon entry. Hope you're all keeping well, safe. Everyone that's observing Ramadan, keep going. Not long to go now. I believe
15.
We're halfway
point,
there.
yeah.
We're halfway there, bro. We're nearly there. The end of the season among all over Europe, and the end of Ramadan is close. So yeah, man, all good, all blessed. Bilal, I know you was munching cake. I know you can smell the food downstairs, but you're sitting in the new camp. Camp now. Is it camp now or new camp?
It's a campfire. That's what it is. You know, yesterday it nearly burned down with what Real Madrid did to them. So, yeah, listen, with Ramadan right now, listen, midway point. But you know, when you get to the midway point, right, you start getting a lot of energy. Your body changes, and I think we saw it last night with Benzema. You know, he rose to the occasion. We saw N'Golo Kante the other night for Chelsea. You know, when that Ramadan energy hits, it's different, and people don't understand. You know, people think fasting limits you as a human. Fasting, once you process it, your body processes it. Listen, you turn into a different beast, and you start having cup ties in the middle of Ramadan. Anything can happen. So yeah,
I'm telling you, people need to look into the sports science of it. Or people like sports scientists say that it gives you actually increases your energy levels. But yeah, I'm not one for sports science, so I'm gonna just duck this subject. Leave it to the athlete that is Bilal. Sani, that sports guy. How you doing, my bro? Hope you're looking forward to another episode of Eurostars.
Of course, I'm looking forward to it. Blessed to be here. I mean, I did some hosting the other day for Premier League Khanage. I know Bilal's back. You might as well call me and him Triple H and HBK to a D-Generation X. And all I'm going to say to everyone is, are you ready?
There
I can't
you
wait
go.
for Eurostars.
Hey, you even got the WWE microphone as well.
I know.
He's too much.
It is serious, bro. This guy's serious.
I'm telling you, he's serious. Ash already says the yearly Dortmund bottle job. I'll be there. We're going to talk about that. Exactly. Hit the likes while joining in, people. Mike is in the building. He says, big up the bros. Make sure you smash the like button. Omar, birthday boy. Happy birthday to Omar. Football Khanage very own Young Buck Camp Charity. Them lot were were giving Madrid goals yesterday. Yeah, we're gonna get onto that as well. We are finished. Talking about the Lampard, we're not really gonna focus on the Lampard stuff too much. In fact, we could be coming up. In fact, we will be coming up because, of course, they've got that tantalizing game against Real Madrid. Very quick, very overview. What stood out for you this weekend before we get into the crux? What's on your mind?
Juventus racist chance, to be honest. And
Surprise.
happened in the game.
Surprise.
And the referee giving Lukaku a red card for celebrating his normal celebration because he just had his feelings hurt. And it has been a circus in Italy since that game. Just a circus.
It's been a circus in Italy. It's been a circus at Paris Saint-Germain as well, Michael. We're going to get into that as well. It looks like, as someone said in Dortmund, the house is about to fall down, the house of cards. So much to get through, bro. What stood out for you over this since last week?
Well, this is called Eurostars, but I'm going to take it to World Stars because I've actually been following South American football, and I mean the madness that goes on in South America. Every time I watch Bolivia play, like a team from Bolivia, they beat one of the superpowers in South America. I don't understand it. The altitude in Bolivia is undefeated, and one from Europe is definitely Feyenoord and Ajax. I don't know if you guys saw what happened, but one of the players got hit by, I think it was a lighter. I think it was Klaassen. He was bleeding from the back, and then he got concussion from it. So Feyenoord, they're going to get in serious trouble, even though they've had an amazing season. But that whole De Klassieker game was absolute carnage.
Yeah, it was. Pardon the pun. It was
Yeah.
absolute carnage. Ty, what's going on, my bro? Hope you're keeping
Good,
well.
man.
Hope
Yeah.
European football has been lighting up your days and nights whenever you've had a chance to catch it. Anything catch your eye over the last week or so?
Yeah, well, I got a big goal, obviously, against Fenerbahce on the weekend. No one clocked that. No one else clocked what I'm doing.
Nathan Redmond.
Nathan Redmond. There.
You can't do that to him like that.
He's done it. He's done it.
Oh,
I
but
tell
yeah,
you.
yeah.
How the hell has he ended up there, man?
I know.
Football's
You know
wild.
what's
Football's
funny?
mad. When
Josh
Nathan
King,
Redmond
I think
ends
Josh
up
King's at Fenerbahce as well. Like all these players that just end up randomly all over the world.
Deli
man.
Ali,
But nah.
Josh King, Nathan Redmond. There was someone
Enter
else as well.
Valencia.
Yeah,
Enter Valencia. No, I'm talking about from the Premier League.
Deli Ali's obviously not playing no more.
Yeah,
They
that's
kicked him
I know
out, man.
Spurs went there for
But no, I'm all good, man. It's great to be on. Obviously, great panel. As always, man. I think we've got a lot to get through. I think my highlight is I'm looking forward to discussing this Napoli-Milan game. I think there's a bit more of a deeper thing to this, especially with them coming up in the Champions League against each other. So yeah, man, like the video, people. You know what I'm always saying. Like the video, subscribe, do all that for Grizz, man.
100% appreciate that. Listen, I'm gonna start with Germany and the Bundesliga and the cup stuff and everything around tactical Tommy. You know, obviously it's coinciding with Lampard taking over at Chelsea. They've actually replaced Tuchel, right, with absolute novices. Are they going to pay for this? And is this going to be for the benefit of Bayern? Bayern, Sani or BILAL, I don't know if you got the teams. Obviously, he took his first game against
Dortmund.
Dortmund. What do they call this one? The De Klassieker.
De Klassieker.
The classic.
This is nothing classic about this.
I'm learning, brothers. I'm learning. They call this the Der Klassiker. Dortmund, a lot of hype. Can they do this? If they can overcome this, I'm sure some of you are avid supporters of Dortmund. I'm looking at you, Mr. Bilal. You know what I mean? Super team, dream team. I know you guys are fans, but Tuchel's first game, it was quite a walk in the park. Bilal.
Listen, I prefer not to speak, to be honest.
No,
Yeah.
you need to speak.
See, with Dortmund, yeah, I came to the realization during this game that I'm cutting ties with them. This is ridiculous. Every season, I think there was a quote today with Jude Bellingham. He's like, every bloody time, like this happens. Like, and he's been there 2 minutes. So imagine how Royce is feeling. So the way he was lashing out, on the bench, a player who for me was so talented, so good, but obviously injuries, hit him a lot. Similar to his idol, Rosicky, which is quite funnily enough. Like, you're going to pick an idol, don't pick an injury-prone one, but he did. But honestly, with Dortmund, I give up. I give up with them. There's no hope. They will never win the league again. It feels like Bayern, was it 10 in a row now? It's game over. So yeah.
I was going to say, sorry, I'm so sorry. I know you wanted to carry on, and I'm actually loving that you're giving up on Dortmund, but I wanted to ask anyone really, did you guys see anything? Okay, let's focus on Tuchel, Tactical Tommy, as I've affectionately called him. Did he do anything different? Son, I'll come to you, or Mo, come to you.
I wanna just add something quick, okay? If you watch this game, you know that Bayern Munich, won 4-2 and they were 4-0 up, but they actually didn't dominate the game in the beginning of the game before the mistake that happened. Actually, Dortmund controlled the game in the first 15 minutes before that mistake. They created more chances, and Thomas Tuchel still doesn't know his players.
No,
so
of course.
That's it. So, to be honest, this game, the scoreline does not reflect how the game started, the first 15 minutes, but you can't win a game when you make these silly mistakes. And they make 3 consecutive mistakes, Dortmund, and the game was practically over. 25 minutes in, it was done. It was over. There was no fight back.
I think we've spoken about this goalkeeper, haven't we, in previous shows? This goalkeeper is very, very suspect, isn't he? Michael, you're not a fan of this keeper.
Actually, I think he's been the best goalkeeper in the Bundesliga until over the weekend. What happened? I mean, this is the thing with this match, right? I kind of agree with Mo. Dortmund were actually playing very well until Dortmund just killed themselves. This has always been the case when these two teams play against.
Think of this though. They always when it comes to the big occasion or the big game.
Yeah, it always just happens for some reason. It's just individual mistakes. It's nothing that all the other team were dominant, because they were controlling the game. I thought, wow, Dortmund actually playing well here. They're pressing against Bayern. They're actually doing well. And then all of a sudden, Kall, I don't know what he's doing there on that chance. And then they just keep making mistake. Then Kall parries it straight to Thomas Muller. Although Thomas Muller in the game, I thought he was excellent. In transition, Bayern were very good, but I didn't really see a dominant Bayern Munich that thought I would see, because then when we get to the game on Tuesday, that was like, okay, they still are not looking the greatest. In all honesty, with Bayern, I just think with Dortmund, this is the same old thing. And then on Tuesday, they got absolutely outplayed by RB Leipzig. Absolutely outplayed. So they're out now of the Bundesliga and out of the DFB Pokal. So they're
in a matter of a week.
Yeah, exactly. Their season was looking so promising, and now it's all derailed quickly.
We're gonna get to the cup game where it didn't go so rosy for Bayern. But Sane, any comments on this Dortmund? Every season we hype up, or people hype up, the transfer activity they do, the incomings. You know what? This looks good. That looks good. I'm looking at that team, Sane, honestly, and apart from my guy Jude, I don't see anything that I'd be worried about. Or, I know some people like Sule. I've never rated Sule, Nicholas Sule. I call him the German Maguire. Brandt is finished. He's not that same Julian Brandt from 4 years ago. Injuries. We know Royce is so talented. But again, all these injuries, catch up with you. I think I'm in a good position to speak about Emre Can. He's not that guy. He's not that guy. It looks to me a very slow team.
Yeah, I think it's a weird one because, if you look at Julian Brandt, for example, I know you said that, he's not the same as he was a couple of years ago, but he was still on pace to having his best season at Dortmund so far. So people were thinking, there might be a chance for Dortmund. But it's like the old saying, there's death, taxes, and Bayern always beating Dortmund when it comes to the league. And that's exactly what happened, because the thing is, I love Dortmund. I used to watch them a lot growing up when Jurgen Klopp was in charge. This is back when Lucas Barros was their striker. And I know they have Lewandowski coming after that. The Goetze, Kagawa, Royce, Trident with Blachowski and all that sort of stuff. But I just think once Klopp went, they went through a transition where they obviously weren't good enough. Bayern had that massive come up. And since then, it just hasn't been the same. And I think going forward for Dortmund, no matter what they do, no matter which player comes in, they had Haaland, for example, who was still raw. But you think they had a good chance with him. They had the Aubameyang era as well. They just weren't going to come close to winning the league. And that's the thing with Bayern. The thing is, come next season, they'll end up raiding the best talent from Germany. And as a result, even if Dortmund try next season, the result will end up being the same. And it's a shame because at one stage, the Bundesliga was one of the best leagues in the world. You had teams like Werder Bremen winning the league, Wolfsburg winning the league. It was very, very competitive. Whereas now, it's like, you'll see a little bit fight from the teams, such as Leipzig and Dortmund in this instance. But when it all comes down to it, death, taxes, and Bayern win the league. And
I think they're going to lose the league, Sonny. I'm sorry. I think they're going to lose the league when they play Manchester City. I think with 2 points behind, Dortmund will still win the league. That's my take on it.
I was gonna ask Ty. I think Bayern will walk this league now. Especially if they come out of the Champions League. But I was going to ask Ty your opinion. Are you surprised, shocked at Dortmund loss? And do you think they're still in it? Because there are 2 points. Look, it's 2 points.
Yeah, it's 2 points. Obviously, the maths says obviously one draw, and the other teams win their game. They're back in it. But I agree with Sonny. Really, I think Bayern Munich will come good at this time of the season. I think when you look at Bayern Munich as well, people could say they're sort of underachieved in a weird way because they're normally 8 points clear probably at this time of the season. But with Thomas Tuchel, I do think he's going to get them playing another gear than what Nagelsmann happened to find this season. So with that, if you take into context Bayern are still top or they're level on points with Tuchel coming in, I do expect a manager to have that sort of bounce, but also he's got the now sort of managing experienced players. He's won multiple trophies. I think they'll find another gear, and that gear should be enough to win a Bundesliga where, let's be honest, like you've got Leipzig, you've got Union Berlin up there around the top 4, top 5. Like they're a team that you don't look at competing for the league title. And Dortmund, I'll just be honest with you, you know, I look at that team, like you said, and I don't think, oh my God, like if we had them or they were still in the Champions League, no one's really scared to play a Dortmund team. And that's not a team that I think can overpower Bayern in the league, if I'm honest. And
the way we look at Dortmund teams recently in the past is we always look at through their lineup and think, oh, you know what? I'd love to bring him in. They've always got one superstar. Apart from Jude, does any of those players get into, let's say, the top 4 or top 4, 6 teams of anywhere?
Do you know what? I'd actually say Rafael Guerreiro could probably start at left back for Spurs, if I'm totally honest with you. But that's me. Like, look, it's Spurs. Spurs are not great, but you know what I mean. But Rafael Guerreiro could probably start. Obviously, a team like Spurs. Look at
Schlotterbeck. Ty, do you think Schlotterbeck can get into the top?
He has moments where he's played really well, and then there's moments where I still think, okay, I can see in his age that he's still developing into like a good centre back, if that makes sense. Like sometimes with positioning, for example, he makes quite a lot of recovery tackles, but a good centre back doesn't always have to make a lot of recovery tackles, just little things like that. But I take out Jude Bellingham, and I think the way I'm looking at this, right, is this is their best chance to win the league, Grizz, because Bayern Munich are not actually firing on all cylinders.
No.
Next year, Bayern will be better, and they're going to sign more players. Jude Bellingham leaves, Dortmund actually then drop off a level, so then it's going to be even harder for them to capitalise. So for me, I think Bayern go on and win the league, and this result didn't surprise me. I actually thought Bayern would win, if I'm totally honest. And I think Thomas Müller just deserves a mention. I definitely did want to speak on him because this guy is probably one of the most underrated players in the last 10 years. I just feel like
brought him back in the fold. He was out of the fold a little bit.
Musiala's playing in the 10, and no, Musiala's great. Don't get me wrong. He's going to have a great career. But when you look at someone like Thomas Müller, he's the type, Grizz, that me and you in 20 years' time we'll be having a curry together or whatever, Turkish, and we'll be sitting there talking about like best players and blah blah we watched. And he'll go under the radar and kind of them sort of conversations because he's never exceptional at anything. But his movement, his IQ, knowing where to be in the right spots at the right time, you can't teach that. There's a reason he's got 57 Champions League goals, 200 assists. I even saw Cam talking about it the other day. This guy is very underrated. And I think if Tuchel can get a tune out of him, he's probably one of the players that can cause City problems in that sort of pocket in and around Rodri, if I'm totally honest. But yeah, I think Thomas Müller deserved a shout out from that game.
Can't disagree with you more about Thomas Müller. But I was going to say, moving on from that game, Tactical Tommy's first game in charge, total opposite. As the banner says, Bayern treble hopes up in smoke in the next game. What on earth happened in this game, Bilal? Michael, what happened?
At home as well, Grizz. At home as well.
Well, they took a lead.
Yeah, it took a lead. First 10 minutes.
It's a weird one. This is a typical cup game. Like you watch the way Bayern lose this game. One absolute screamer, to make it 1-1, and then a penalty, Musiala handball to make it 2-1 Freiburg. And listen, I've been talking about Freiburg a few times during Eurostars. Like they're a weird team. Like this 4-4-2 stuff they're playing. They're not an easy team to play against. You don't actually want to play against a team like Freiburg, especially in a cup. The way they're set up is actually suited to cup football. So I'm not actually surprised that they actually got a result because whenever I've watched them in the Bundesliga, they're like I compared them to like the David Moyes teams of his Everton teams. That sort of team, that sort of feeling. So listen, fair play to them. They've got the result, but for Bayern, it's one of those ones, man. It's a cup game. They'll brush themselves off. They handled business against Dortmund, but now all attention is on Man City, and they have to rise in that game. And that now the pressure is so much on that Champions League.
Already, that's the mad thing. I mean, Michael, it's mad. Dortmund and the crowd and the media and everything must have been okay. Tuchel's coming back to not home, but you know what I mean, back to his home country.
Yep.
This result must have sent shockwaves, surely. And now suddenly the pressure's not only in the league still because there's only 2 points, but all eyes are on that Champions League game now.
Oh, 100%. But I gotta give a shout out to Freiburg and especially Christian Streich, the manager. He's been there now, I want to say 12 or 13 years. They got relegated the first couple of years. They kept going with him. and now they're still in the DFB Pokal. They gave a tough game to Juventus in the Europa League. They're looking to make back-to-back finals in the DFB Pokal. They've never won any trophy. Any trophy. They've won the Bundesliga too. They've never won a DFB Pokal or Bundesliga. So this would be a sensational story if they won. And I think they played an excellent game. They just knew what to do. They forced Bayern out on the wings, and all Bayern did was just put in crosses. That's all they did. For the last 30 minutes, all I just saw was Bayern cross 1, cross 2, cross 3, cross 4. And then, Freiburg got a set piece, bouncing ball, hits Musiala hand, and it was a penalty. Look, I think for Bayern, they got a lot of pressure now. You know what's even more funny, Chris? They're playing against each other this weekend, Freiburg and Bayern. And it's away from Bayern.
Wow.
So it could get interesting in a sense where Freiburg, they're, I think, 4th or 5th in the Bundesliga. They're hoping to make Champions League football for the first time ever. So it's not going to be an easy game, that's for sure. And I think for Bayern, I don't know. I look at their team, and they're very talented, but I just think they have so much stuff going on. They have so much stuff going on in the media, off the pitch, that it's now affecting this team on the pitch, and they don't play with that fluidness that you think with Bayern, the ruthless aggression. I just don't see it from this Bayern team, and when they go up against Man City, I just feel like they're just going to sit back and hit them on the counterattack. I don't think they're going to take the game to Manchester City at all. At home, they probably could, and we could see Man City be a bit more defensive like they were at the Emirates, but yeah, Bayern, they're not looking the greatest at the moment. I got to give a shout out to Freiburg because it's an amazing story what they got going on.
It is an amazing story. We know they're very good defensively as well. So it'll be interesting. This time it's at home, you're saying Freiburg at home to Bayern. So it'll be interesting how this comes along. We're going to obviously look into the Man City and Bayern fixture when it get closer to it. But yeah, Sonny, that's the not make or break already for Tuchel. But, we know how these clubs operate. If it's a disastrous exit to Man City, if he continues to falter, because he's expected to come in, walk the league, and make it at least competitive against Man City over the 2 legs. Otherwise, pressure?
I wouldn't say so. I know Michael's talking about Bayern and how they are basically known as FC Hollywood, which is their nickname. And I know, everything that's going on behind the scenes with Oliver Kahn, for example. However, I think with Bayern, given where they were in the situation in the season, the only way I think they'd actually get rid of Tuchel is if next season he falters. Because I think coming into the situation right now in Bayern, there's a lot of mystery, uncertainty. Would you really expect a manager to come in and win all 3 trophies? Possibly 2, at least the league you'd expect, and probably the cup, because the teams left in the cups, they're not exactly teams that you're thinking, wow. I mean, like, Leipzig, for example, they beat Dortmund, Union Berlin, they lost to Eintracht Frankfurt, who are a good side, but Bayern realistically should be beating them. Then you got Stuttgart against Nuremberg as well. Realistically, like I said, sides that Bayern 9 times out of 10 will be beating them. And then going back to the point that Michael said as well, Freiburg actually 4th as well. So I know they were playing at home, Bayern, but Freiburg could be making the UCL for the first time in their history. So realistically, that's a big claim for them. They've got a lot to play for. And like Michael said, if they haven't won a trophy, when it comes to the magic of the cup, I know we love romanticizing it in England with the FA Cup. Teams like this in other leagues also love that sort of idea as well. But I think going back to the point about pressure for Tuchel, I think if he's in the same situation next year where Dortmund are 2 points off, where in the Champions League they might not get as deep as they think, where they've had this sort of exit in the cup, then we can talk about it. But I think this season, Tuchel gets a pass going forward for Bayern.
Mo, Tuchel gets a pass. I pretty much agree. I just wanted to put the cat amongst the pigeons to see if anyone gets the bait. But, or are you going to say, no, this is Bayern Munich. They have standards. They have...
Well, if he doesn't win the league and he gets out of the Champions League with a big scoreline, I don't think.
This is what I'm saying. Man City could do a Leipzig. Can Man City do a Leipzig job?
I don't think so, Grizz. I don't think so. I don't see it. I don't see a big scoreline. This is gonna be a big thing if that happens. A big scoreline. Bayern Munich.
Guys, I'm seeing it. I'm telling you now. Man City will walk this over 2 legs.
If they play Alvarez, maybe. But if they play Haaland,
how are you doing that?
Oh my god! But to be honest, I just want to add something. I don't think Thomas Tuchel is all that.
I was going to ask Ty that, but go on.
He's not great.
You answer it.
He's not great because he won the Champions League with Chelsea. Di Matteo won the Champions League. He's not great. He failed with a lot of good players at Chelsea and Paris Saint-Germain. He fell off with the hierarchy, but he wasn't great with PSG. I don't think. Why is Thomas Tuchel is a big coach based on what? Because he won the Champions League. Someone tell me what was Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel? What was the football brand? I didn't see it. I don't think he's a good coach. I think he's an okay coach. This is his time to prove that he's a top-notch coach.
Ty, Tuchel's got a huge job on his hands. Mo's really piled in on the pressure. Sane tried to buy him time. You have the final verdict. I think if they get dumped badly out of the Champions League and they continue to be hit and miss I think there will be pressure on him because he's the kind of guy that doesn't like pressure on him. He starts fighting back. And when you start fighting back, he's a very feisty character. And Bayern have got this board of directors and everything. You kick off with one person and there you're gone. Yeah, you kick off with one of the legends of the club, you're gone. This is what I mean. There could be issues. Or are you a fan? Because he has got a very good record against Pep.
Yeah, he has. He actually won his first 3 against Pep when he was at Chelsea. And then Pep started finding obviously the mechanisms as he does to beat you. But I feel like with Tuchel, he needs things to go his way. Because I think when things start going not his way, I don't think he's the best at sort of dealing with them sort of situations. I do actually think he's a good coach. I see a lot of players that have played under him as in individuals that talk about his coaching regimes. Whether that transforms onto the pitch is obviously a different matter. But in terms of individuals that have worked under him, they really like his coaching methods. It's quite unique in the way he does things on the training ground. But I do think, if the worst happens, but this could be any manager. This is why I'm not trying to pin it on Tuchel. If they get battered by Man and then lose the league, it doesn't matter if it was Ancelotti, whoever they would be under pressure. So it's not just because it's Tuchel. So if any manager lost in a bad way, I think any manager would be in trouble, not just Tuchel. But do I think Tuchel wins the league with them? Yes, I do. Do I think he makes the game in the Champions League against Man City competitive? Yes, I do. And the reason is Bayern Munich can't really go toe-to-toe with Man City. If I'm sitting here as a non-football coach, and I know that, Tuchel must know that. And Tuchel's record in cup football is actually far better than it is in league football. So this is actually going to suit him more if you look at the way Tuchel plays. So I think for me, they just set up a bit more, reserved and try and, use the Sane, the Gnabry's, and, try and pin the Musiala's ball carrying and try and get an away goal. I think it's the first leg at City, trying to get an early away goal and see what happens there. So yeah, if it goes catastrophic, of course, any manager's in trouble. But I think he will survive this season.
But before we move on, I want to add something. Looking at the two squads, looking at the two starting lineups, there are no excuses. The starting lineup of Bayern Munich is full of superstars, especially with Cancelo.
It is, Mo, but when I look at players like Choupo-Moting, I look at Goretzka. I know he's
they have money. They have money, Ty. It's not Choupo-Moting.
Yeah, they have money. I get it, of course, but I don't look at the Bayern team like
Sadio ain't that king, man. I'm telling you from a Liverpool man, I've been saying it. Even though he had a fantastic ending, Sadio is not the king, Mane.
It's not the Sadio. It's not the Sadio of Sadios. Yeah, it isn't. And I just don't know. I look at this Bayern team and it doesn't grab me. Like I look at De Ligt. I've never been the biggest fan of Matthias De Ligt. Upamecano, I always said that I used to prefer Ibrahima Konate, if I'm totally honest. So if I'm having them doubts or in them players, I don't believe that they're a team of superstars.
As I said, we're going to get into it when it comes around. But
can I ask you a question though?
Go on. I was going to ask someone a question as well. But
I just want to say, in terms of Tuchel, sorry. In terms of Tuchel, because Mo was obviously questioning him as a manager, doesn't really rate him as a coach. If we were doing tier levels of coaches, right, and you're talking your tier ones of your Pep Klopps and stuff like that, Arteta's, people are saying if he wins the league, he goes into tier 2. Where are you putting Tuchel? Because a lot of people have him in that sort of tier 1, but I feel now like people might be drifting him into tier 2. Where are you guys?
Tier 1 can't be that big, man. Yeah, tier 1 just Pep and Klopp for me. That's it.
That's it. Just 2 managers in the top, yeah.
Well, no. You got to say Ancelotti.
Okay, yeah, Ancelotti. Okay, fair enough. Okay,
I bet Mo would say Conte.
For me, Antonio Conte. Yes.
Told you. I knew it.
Allegri. So for me, Allegri, Antonio Conte is tier 2 in my opinion. These are tier 2 for me.
Wait, Conte tier 2.
Yeah, because he won the league in 3 different teams. That's
so I'm saying tier 1, tier 2 or tier 1.
That's tier 2. Conte's tier 2 for me because of the Champions League, of course. Because of the Champions League. But
this is content for ideas for another time. Listen, stop it right there. We've got so much to get through. Great question, Ty. That is a great question. I was going to say, because you said Cancelo, I think you mentioned Cancelo earlier on. He's got Benjamin Pavard, who he's been speaking highly of, right, to possibly right back. Cancelo plays right back or left back, and then that would mean Davis not starting or complete shift in because he's been playing Davis and Coleman on the wing back. The previous coach is Tuchel going to change the formation? I think it's intriguing. So many different.
No, Cancelo's going to hold bench against Man City,
and that's going to be intriguing, Michael.
Yep.
Like, I don't know. Cancelo's going to hold bench.
I love that. Walker and Davis
well.
Up and down with that pace. Ooh, can't wait.
It's going to be mad. It's
But
going to
that's
be
what
mad.
I'm saying. It's very full team.
No, Mo, I know what you're saying. I agree with you to a certain extent that Bayern. Look, if you go through history, you look at a Bayern team, you'll always have stars in it. That's Bayern Munich for you. You have to have stars if you're Bayern Munich. I just think Man City, that form that they're running into and getting into, Pep usually times it. And I know it's not the Premier League show, but they're showing it in the Premier League, and a certain man over there is sweating, right? With a comeback, can they overtake Arsenal? But in Europe, I've said it before. This could be Man City's year, but we'll talk about that later. We have to go to the camp now. Bilal has it in the background. Ramadan Kareem as Real pull off raid at Nou Camp. Bilal, did you see this one coming? 1-0 at the Bernabeu.
Yep.
And then they went back to Camp Nou, and just when you think Xavi's got this hold over Madrid and whatnot, right? Xavi's the up and coming. Ancelotti's on his way out. This is the handover, the turnover. Can they put it into cups? Because it looks like they've got. Okay, first and foremost, have they got the La Liga lined up? You think it's all over?
Yeah, 12. Yeah, so I think La Liga's over. But
so La Liga's over. We all think, right? Yep. This was a huge game for them because this would have meant the double was on in Xavi's first full season.
Would have been the treble because they won the Supercopa.
That's a community shield, man. The rebranded for
B-Tech treble.
That's PK's madness
but
there.
Crushing blow. Crushing blow.
You know what? Yeah, this is why Real Madrid are Real Madrid.
Mm-hmm.
Their aura is crazy. You know what it is with Real Madrid? I don't think there's a team in world football, right, that when the chance is there, they take it the way Real Madrid do. You see, there's different. You see, with Bayern Munich, we talk about them. I feel like Bayern Munich are the team that punish you for no reason, right? But I feel like Real Madrid, they're the team that whenever you think they're out, but they see that little bit of light at the end, they take it, you know. And at 1-0, wait, Lewandowski before the goal, right? Lewandowski has a massive chance, and then 1 second later, Vinicius Junior is going off, Benzema's going off, boom, 1-0. And you're thinking, how was that happen? I remember I was sitting there, I was talking, I was like, damn, Xavi, man. Even with Aubameyang, he was bullying Real Madrid 4-0. I'm like, yeah, Barcelona, man. When Barcelona are on it, Real Madrid can't compete, da-da-da-da-da. But the thing with Real Madrid, you just can't count this team out. And I think that shows that their top players are the top players, you know, because when it matters, when it's a, do or die situation,
it's
right?
the mentality, isn't it?
They just rise time and time again. And this is why they're so impressive. Doesn't matter who's playing. Doesn't matter if it's Toni Kroos for the, however old he is, Modric, however old he is, Benzema, the same. But they just seem to rise. And now we're seeing it with Vinicius, how he's becoming that superstar in that team. Like, he is really rising to the occasion. I read something about him, the number 7 shirt, right? Apparently he's rejected the offer to have the 7 shirt. And people are like, why is he doing that? But maybe he's creating his own legacy with his number 20, Vinicius Junior. He's going to be that guy. But yeah, big up Real Madrid. But Barcelona, that's embarrassing. To die like that, it's embarrassing.
Sonny, I mean, we've spoken about Vinicius a lot in this show and everything, right? And I'm looking at the two teams, and surprisingly, I can't remember, was it Mo who said it a few weeks ago that we were talking about, or it might have been Michael, that we're talking about Barcelona, the Gavis and the Pedris, etc. But defensively, they've been so good. Like Araujo, Koundé, Balde, not so much Alonso, but defensively, they've been so good. What happened in this game? Because I look at those two lineups, and I don't know how Barcelona have got the La Liga wrapped. I don't get it. I don't see this Barcelona team very good. Like Man United put them to the sword over 2 legs. Like light work.
I think there's a few things to definitely discuss. I mean, Real Madrid always take the Champions League seriously. That is their competition. The Kings of Europe for a reason. But I think in this game, you've mentioned a really good point with the defense, especially at Barcelona. They haven't really conceded a lot of goals. I think ter Stegen's on some record, clean sheet record. But that left side for Real Madrid was absolutely destroying Barcelona. This is the first game I've actually seen Vinicius actually take Araujo for a walk through the park because he had him on the ropes. Camavinga, he locked up Rafinha. I think he had something like 100% tackle completion rate, which is ridiculous. And that's not even his preferred position. But to think that a midfielder is playing there as left back and doing that is sensational. But this result is huge for one big reason. In the last 60 years, Real Madrid have only managed to beat Barcelona in a bigger than a two-goal like record once, and that was yesterday. So to think that they did that in a second leg in a Copa del Rey, considering they've lost 3 times in a row in the previous games to Barcelona, is a huge result. And it just goes to show, like Bilal said, when the chips are down, you call Real Madrid and they will deliver. And that's exactly what they're doing. Unbelievable performance. And shout out Benzema as well. I know he was fasting. So
well, yeah, you're talking about when the chips are down, you call Mo. There's only one striker in world football that you call when the chips are down and Madrid needs something. Is this guy Karim Benzema? I don't know what to say about this guy.
He's a leader, fantastic player, of course. Took his chance after Ronaldo left and took
his leadership qualities. I don't think are spoken enough about.
No. Remember what he said to Vinicius? What did he say? He's playing against us. All of this is that leadership.
Yes.
Well, what happened since then?
Exactly. Thank you, Ty.
We're giving him the credit. Okay.
So I know everybody was. I want to talk about a different aspect completely of this game because I actually had this game on with the other games. And to be honest, tactically, Xavi, in the league, he's the student of Pep. In the league, they beat all the small teams. That's why they have the league wrap. Because the system that he plays is simple. It's like, you don't have the quality to beat my press. And in this game, he did the opposite of what he did in the first game. He tried to press Real Madrid from the first minute, and that created an isolation all over the pitch. Vinicius Jr. was isolated 40 yards with Araujo. Every time he got the ball, he had 4 yards to run on Araujo or Conde, and no coverage. I think Xavi thought, you know what, I can go, it's Camp Nou, I can press Real Madrid. And he got beat tactically. Exactly. In the first game, he defended for 90 minutes and scored 1 goal because you don't have the players. This is not Pep's team. This is the Busquets, 55 years old. Sergio Roberto shouldn't have been playing for Barcelona from the beginning. Kessie is not that level. Even Alonso, a reject from Chelsea. Balde, still young. This lineup does not scream, go press Real Madrid from the first minute. But he did it, and he got punished. Tactically, he got outplayed in this game. He did it correct the first game, and he does it really well in La Liga, by the way, because not a lot of teams in La Liga have the quality to bypass that press of Barcelona. This game, tactically, Xavi showed that inexperienced manager. He needs a lot of experience to be able to manage big games. That's why he got knocked out against Barcelona, he got knocked out in the Champions League, and he got knocked out against Real Madrid in the Copa, because he played big teams with big coaches and they can think. Simple.
Definitely missed De Jong as well, though, for sure. He was a key miss for them.
Yeah, massive miss. Sergio Roberto, I don't know how he's still continuing at Barcelona. It's one of the great mysteries. But Dennis says something here, Michael. He says Benzema is hitting Di Stefano records for Madrid. He's a bigger legend for Madrid than Ronaldo. Thoughts?
Oh, okay, let's calm it down. I mean, Ronaldo... Did you see all the goals Ronaldo scored for Madrid? I mean, where was Benzema during that time? Only until Ronaldo left did Benzema start hitting these heights. So, got to put respect on Ronaldo's time at Madrid. But actually, I was checking the stats. The last Madrid player to score a hat-trick away at Barcelona was Puskas. Wow. I don't think offside was invented by then. I don't think they even knew what yellow card or red card was. That's how long ago it was until a hat-trick was scored from a Madrid player at the Spotify Camp Nou. Ridiculous performance by Madrid. This is what they do. You can try and destroy them. You can try and land a blow. And then all what they do is one counterattack. Boom. Score. Second half, they just get... This is... Karim the Dream Benzema, like Julian Laurent says on ESPN FC, is just that guy. He might not care. The thing with Karim is he was looking very unhealthy for the last couple of weeks. I think because now he doesn't play for the French national team. He used that time to recover, and now he's hitting that stride. So if you're Chelsea, long night ahead. Long night ahead. I'm sorry. With Kareem and Vinicius in this form, and you saw what Vinicius did to Araujo, because if there was one kryptonite to Vinicius, it was Araujo. But he adopted him. That one move he did in the corner, he adopted him in that whole sequence. But yeah, I got to give a shout out. I think it was Sadi who said Camavinga. I mean, what do we say about Camavinga, guys? He cost 25 million, 30 million from start to ends. Madrid.
That's a crime, man. That's a crime.
It's a crime. He's at least worth 100 million right now. I don't care what anybody says.
That's
the
a
amount
crime,
of work
man.
this guy does is ridiculous for Madrid, and I just hope they lose the Copa del Rey final. I have nothing against Madrid, but they're playing Osasuna, and Osasuna have never won any trophy as well. So this is another case of a club never winning a trophy, and they're one of the only, I think, fan-owned clubs in Spain. So hopefully Osasuna can do it, but they're going up against Madrid, and they haven't won the Copa del Rey since, I think, 2014 or 2015. It's been a while for them. So
2014,
Wow.
yeah.
You know, the only time I
Build the
remember
final.
When he ran down the line, then
2014.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
but-
2014, 2013, somewhere around then.
do you remember when Sergio Ramos dropped the Copa del Rey when they
Oh,
won?
yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
2011. That was Jose
That-
Mourinho's season. That
That
was.
was fun. But one thing quickly on the Benzema thing, right? Is I've not seen a player have this opinion shift this quick, in his career. Because for the most part, growing up with Benzema, people always rated him. Yeah, he's a good player, but he had that him versus Higuain for many years. Then he was in the shadow of Ronaldo. He was never that main guy. When you talked about strikers, you talk about, the Agueros, the Lewandowskis, even the guys like Fernando Torres at one point, you wouldn't be talking about Benzema probably in that level. But in the last 5-6 years, like, he's just taken over and gone to a different level. Is it something in Real Madrid? Because Modric is the same. Modric wasn't that guy till he was 28. Then he ends up. This is mad.
Maybe it's
it goes
because we
against the
didn't.
grain.
Maybe it's we didn't appreciate. Maybe it's humbling for us that we didn't appreciate these levels and skills. Like Big Benz is in the building. Actually, he sends in a super chat. Big up, Big Benz. He says, when we are talking about the best players on different positions, where do you guys put players like Vinny Jr.? Now, another guy that is rising to prominence. Yet, you're right, Bilal, like a few years ago or when he first arrived on the scene, like so many people were talking him down. And
You were saying he's from Somalia, bro. They were doing the 1 year comps. They were doing the comps here with him with Somali music in the background.
Yeah, but big
Listen,
up Somalia every time.
He
man.
can
Stop.
come. He can come East Africa. We claim
Ty-
him, Isaac. We'll have a good.
Grizz, can I make a point about with Benzema?
Yeah, yeah.
Because they tried to get Jovic. Remember, Jovic was going to be the replacement for Benzema because Benzema. I mean, every Madrid fan wanted him out because when he got in 5 yards in front of goal, he missed it. So they tried to get Jovic, and I think that really started to click for Benzema. He's like, you know what? I got to not perform. And man, he is performing. He's got a Ballon d'Or. I mean, would you guys say he has a better career than Lewandowski?
Oh yeah,
I'd say so. Yeah.
No, because these are
not
like,
even close, Michael. Not even
because
close.
when we think of the generational strikers of this time, it's Suarez,
No.
Lewandowski, and Benzema. So where do we put those three in order? then?
Look, as a player, that's different. Yeah, as an individual player, Lewandowski is brilliant. I think I'm a massive fan of Lewandowski, but career-wise, oh yeah, Benzema.
Because let's be
I
honest,
judge it differently
Lewandowski,
to
And
you
as a
guys.
player as well.
I judge it
Lewandowski
differently.
should have won a Ballon d'Or. Let's be all honest. If it wasn't for COVID, Lewandowski would have won a Ballon d'Or.
He probably should have, but if you just look at player for player, I'm taking Benzema. But if you look at his career at Real Madrid as well, Benzema, other than the first season, which we'll take because that's obviously a climatizing season, there's only been one time where he got less than 10 goals in the league, and that was the season where Ronaldo left. And the shift from there to the season afterwards, so I think he had like 5 goals a season, Ronaldo was there. The season afterwards, he went to 21. So it's a big shift, and I think that was a big thing for Benzema.
I'm actually going to do a poll because I don't think it's clear cut like you guys have made out about Benzema and Ronaldo, what Madrid fans or what Europe would think is the bigger Madrid legend, because I think they appreciate Benzema a lot.
They probably will now.
I think it's closer than some of you have made out, man. I'm not sure, I wish we could do a poll, man. I still haven't worked out. Sani's going to have to work out how to do a poll in the chat. We'll check it out afterwards. But
oh, bro, I'll tell you. Oh, I do them all the time.
yeah, no, I'm so rubbish at this kind of thing. You have to
Yeah,
do it
I
from the
think just
studio,
one
right?
thing, though, with
Yeah, yeah.
Benzema,
Yeah, it's the studio,
though,
yeah.
just one quick thing with Benzema as well, though. But I mean, I know people say he's an underappreciated sort of thing, but only the other day against Valladolid, he was getting booed. Then he came out with a hat trick, which goes to show that Real Madrid fans can be very, very fickle. So many times they've booed Ronaldo, he's come out, got a goal. I remember those, especially when Ronaldo was there and Bale was on the other side. A lot of the times Benzema would go under the radar, and he'd get a lot of criticism by Real Madrid fans. But he'd always do the hard work, the dirty work. And, there's a time, I know Ty's on the stream with me, Wayne Rooney would do a lot of that work for us when there was Tevez and Ronaldo. And Benzema, for a long time at Real Madrid, he would do a lot of those hard yards, and I'm happy to see him reaping the rewards now with that Ballon d'Or for sure.
Recency bias. I think Ronaldo did wonders, guys, at Real Madrid. We just forgot.
Exactly.
No,
We
of
really
course.
forgot.
No,
I'm sorry,
Grizz.
Grizz. That poll is going to be 70-30 Ronaldo.
Probably will be, but I'm relying on recency bias to pull through.
There you go.
When we Ty, I think we need a shout out for Vinny Jr., man. Basically, this should
bro,
say
I'll be
talk
honest
to me
with
about
you. I
Vinny
think if I
Jr., man.
took left wingers
Levels
in the world, you know, people talk about Crabber, of course. He's had a great season, but for me, I think Vinicius is my favorite left winger. So when people are talking about like world class players, you know, people always say, well, when you were growing up, it was for me like sort of the top 3 or 4 in that position. I think obviously the football's changing a bit now because there's not as many standouts in the era we're going through. We're kind of going through that little evolutionized sort of stage. But Vinicius, for me, I think if I had to pick a left winger on my team, he's the first one that goes on there. I just love him. I like that he can score goals now. He's very unselfish. That assist, by the way, no one's even mentioned it, how good that assist was.
I watched it
to left foot, like the little shift, like it's so quick. Like how many other players, for me, in that moment at the Camp Nou, away from home, how many players in that moment think of doing that? And that shows how good he is.
Do you know what it reminded me of? That reminded me of some of the stuff Figo used to do.
Yeah,
that was a Figo move, you know.
Yeah, it's just the intelligence, and like for him to do that in the moment, that's an instinct thing. That comes with, you know, that's just the extra bit of class he has. So I really like Vinicius, and I think the best is yet to come. I actually, funny enough, was gonna kind of, you know how you guys were saying about the Benzema and Lewandowski thing, and the Ronaldo Benzema legend wise. I was actually gonna say, because I'm having this chat with my friend at work, and I was thinking, you know, when Benzema retires, right? And people say, who did you enjoy playing with the most at Real Madrid? I reckon by the end of his career, he says Vinicius over Ronaldo in terms of who he enjoyed playing with the most. And I know it's 100%, but I generally think in terms of relationship that he has, him and Vinicius in the last 2 years have really hit it off. And if they can do one more year together and win another big trophy, in terms of that short stint and sort of the chemistry they had, I really like what they're building together, because it's not always a front 3. Sometimes it's a front 2 when Ancelotti wants to shore it up. And they just have that dynamic where they work really well. Benzema drops in, you know Vinicius is running behind, or Vinicius comes in and Benzema peels off. I just really like watching them as a duo. But in terms of just quickly touching on the tactical side of things, I just wanted to say that with Ancelotti and what he's done with Valverde this season, I liked that he changed and put him into midfield, because I watched Man United against this Barcelona team, and of course Busquets was in there. You've got De Jong in there and stuff like that, and you've got Kessie. But in terms of the legs, I've always questioned Barcelona on that big pitch with the legs they had. Because when it was Xavi, Iniesta and Busquets, it was more dominating the ball. They didn't have to run because they just dominated the ball. This Barcelona team doesn't dominate the ball as well as they used to.
It hasn't got the legs, man.
Busquets, and it hasn't got the legs. When you don't dominate the ball, exactly. So when you're not dominating the ball, you need kind of a bit of legs to counteract that. And Valverde going into midfield with his legs and his up and down box to box energy was a nice little twist. I liked how Ancelotti played it. But yeah, I wanted to just see what you guys think on that Ronaldo thing, where I've just said there, like in terms of Benzema when he retires, do you think he would say, you know, I enjoy playing with Vinicius more than Ronaldo? That's not no disrespect to Ronaldo, by the way. Brilliant player, legend. But in terms of who he enjoyed playing
will any of Ronaldo's partners talk of him fondly in their careers? I'm just saying, like Ronaldo as an individual is elite. You know, we know Cristiano Ronaldo. But will any of his partners, strike partners, who have been his strike partners, guys?
Rooney,
yeah, Benzema.
Rooney was absolutely fantastic in every season he played next to Ronaldo. Opposite to Benzema.
No. I know that, but
Ronaldo was different then. It's not even Ronaldo of.
No, but I'm talking about his partners, like Ty saying that Ronaldo was amazing to play with and we really enjoyed it. It was more of a job, and you give the ball to him, and he handles his business.
That sounds the only thing I could think.
This is a good shout.
I only think Morata might say.
That's because it's Ozil. It's passing to him.
Ozil was a shout. Ozil loved playing with him.
Ozil was a shout.
I mean, to answer Ty's question as well, I'm pretty sure Benzema came out after the Ballon d'Or and said that Ronaldo didn't even say congratulations to him. So that probably answers your question.
There you go.
Wild. But yeah, look, look, I can't believe Barcelona have walked the league, man. Like, I look at that team, Madrid. What did they do? They must have gone through a rough patch then.
No, Barcelona win every game. Yeah, exactly. Barcelona win the games, guys. Barcelona win 4 and 3, and Barcelona against the small teams, they have no chance. Barcelona have the most ball position in the league. They created the most chances. This is the system. This is Pep's school. You beat all the small teams with ease, and maybe you struggle. That's why the Champions League, Pep a little bit overthinks. It's that your system works against 18 out of the 19 teams you play.
This is normal though. This has been the way it has been for me. The way I've viewed Barcelona, Real Madrid. Barcelona win the league titles. Real Madrid, win the cups. That's the way I've always looked at it. And it's not surprising to see that Real Madrid, when it's 1-on-1, when it's punch for punch, that they rise and they can do it. But in the league, as Mo says, he's right.
So, he says, Grizz, have you seen Ozil talk about Ronaldo? I did say strike partners, guys. Of course, the creative people behind them are going to love Ronaldo. The likes of Ozil, Modric, they're going to love, playing with Ronaldo. But I'm talking about strike partners, a la your Dybala, someone mentioned the other day in the chat. Your who was the other guy, man?
Higuain.
Do you know what I mean? These guys. We've got a super chat. Bilal, talk to me about this one.
Yeah, Benzema adapted for the team and helped CR7. He wasn't the role of the team, but when CR7 left, Benzema took the reins and showed his class. Big up the panel. Big up the super chat as well. But yeah, listen, even for me, you said Benzema, Suarez, Lewandowski. I'm not going to lie. The way I look at it, it might sound dumb. Yeah, I look at it back like, when they all retire and I'm sitting by myself in 5 years and I have 3 CDs, Benzema, Suarez, and Lewandowski, I'm watching Benzema and Suarez. Lewandowski's tapes, they're collecting dust. I'm not trying to watch his tapes. But Benzema and Suarez, I'll sit down, get a nice cup of tea, and I'll enjoy the football that they're giving me. But that's just the way I look at it.
Benzema will go down in the history as one of the great strikers of our generation. This generation, Suarez will be an elite striker. Benzema will be, Lewandowski. Benzema will go down as one of the, because of the number of Champions League, because of the Ballon d'Or. The Ballon d'Or makes all the difference.
The only guy that could have come close to Benzema and Suarez without injuries is Falcao. But the injuries killed that brother. But his talent alone was so dumb. His talent there on my days could have taken out any of the top strikers we talk about.
Falcao was brilliant, but that's another can of worms we're opening up. Falcao was sensational. He was sensational. But we must go to Italy. Italy? Yeah, we're going to Italy next.
Italia.
The Milan Empire. We spoke about this. We spoke about the aura of Milan over Napoli. We said Napoli on paper in the Champions League is going to be a walkover. Now we know that it's not the Champions League tie. We know Napoli have wiped Serie A. But was this a psychological dagger blow? I don't even want to know who wants to take this one first.
I watched the game. I can tell you one thing, is that I said before, Napoli will always look at the Milan clubs as the bigger ones. It doesn't matter if it's the league.
Is it a big brother syndrome? Yeah?
Exactly. I said that in the Champions League. Napoli would, I know on paper, would have chosen to play Milan or Inter, but they would have wanted to play somebody else because they go to the San Siro. Even if Milan comes to them, Milan knows, okay, we're the bigger club. No matter what you say, we won more trophies than you. You're always been the team that challenges and never win. You won only with Maradona. And this game, I don't think Napoli actually played with everything. However, Milan winning this game, they're going to go to the Champions League in this weekend, the coming midweek, and then they're going to think, we can win this. This Napoli team in the league are great, but we can win this. And I think this proves that Milan will go to this game not scared. They're not afraid. Inter won against Napoli 1-0. Milan won 4-0. It can happen. That doesn't mean Milan are better than Napoli. It just means that there are auras and there are teams that are just bigger than other teams. It's like Liverpool winning 7-0 against Man United. It doesn't reflect the difference between the two teams. It just Liverpool at Anfield against Man United, they wanted to win and they won. Simple.
How do you see this one, Michael? Is it psychological blow, or will Napoli know that their focus is all about the Champions League? And how will Milan take this? Because Milan have been shambolic in recent, but then they've just turned up at Napoli. We've discussed it that it's the hardest ground in world football right now, at least European football, and they've just turned them over 4-0. I mean, it's the same team that we've been talking about with this Milan team. Like, nothing stands out apart from Leao, maybe. Do you know what I mean? Yep. Nothing stands out, yet they've turned up and, by all accounts, take out Osimhen. That's pretty much first team.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, look, this game made absolutely no sense to me because I saw Salamakers, who I don't think is a footballer, dribble like Messi, and go past 3 defenders for Napoli and score. This game, bonkers of a match. I mean, Rafael Leao was sensational. Sensational. Brahim Diaz for that first goal, sensational, where he took out, I think it was Rui and Zielinski in the corner. Absolute brilliance from Brahim Diaz. And this is going to be very interesting because Napoli, if you actually look at their record against the top 4 in Serie A, they've lost to Lazio, they've lost to Inter, and they've lost to Milan. So if you actually look at it, they're not the greatest against the top 4. Going up against Milan, away, I just look at Mike Maignan and I just think, to me, I think he's the best goalkeeper in the world. Call it crazy, I think Mike Maignan is the best goalkeeper in the world. On his feet, command in the air, and shot-stopping ability. I think
Michael, sorry to interrupt. You're saying that as a Liverpool fan with Alisson in goal?
Yes, I honestly, I really rate Mike Maignan highly. He's won a league with Lille. He's won a league with AC Milan. This guy is no joke. Did you see that save he pulled off in the international break against Ireland? Ridiculous. So, yeah, I mean, it's bonkers for me to say it as a Liverpool fan. I love Alisson. Alisson is a top 3 goalkeeper in the world, but Mike Maignan can make all the difference. If they had Tato Rosano in goal, who's not a goalkeeper, I think he's a volleyball player, Napoli would wipe the floor with Milan. But because of Mike Maignan, we saw a Grizz, and we got a harsh reality. A goalkeeper can make all the difference in a football match. Courtois in the final last season. Mike Maignan can do that. He can keep Cavani quiet. He can keep Osimhen quiet. And there was another perspective from this game is, actually, Napoli, their ultras were protesting, so they didn't chant. That's why you only heard Milan chants for the whole entire game. So I think the vibe in the stadium was not really good for Napoli, and I think it kind of affected the players and affected their play, and they just didn't play with that same sort of freedom. And if you see the midfield battle, Tonali was exceptional in this game. Now, can I expect Tonali to do that for 2 games against this Napoli team? I don't really see it, but that Champions League game, it's very, very intriguing right now because the heritage, it might be strong.
Sonny, they play them in the league as well. Wow. This could be some set of 3 fixtures, the trilogy. How do you see it going?
I think, well, the league, I mean, we all know Napoli's going to win the league, so it's pretty much a dead rubber. They did miss Osimhen in this, but that left side for Milan is going to be the one to watch, I think, when it comes to the Champions League games, because Hernandez and Leao, there's some telepathy there. I don't know if one of them is Charles Xavier in the X-Men, because he's just literally linking him every single time. It's unbelievable. I think if Milan come out of that first leg with a draw, I think they'll probably progress through in that 2-legged affair. It's going to be a big game, though. Like I said, Osimhen was a big miss in this. So that's one thing that you do need to consider going forward. And also AC Milan, they do like playing 3 at the back as well. I mean, I know in this game they did play a 4-back, but they do like playing the likes of Tiao, for example, with Tomori. Obviously, Kaye came into this match. But that's something to consider as well, whether like Kalulu obviously comes in. But the midfield, again, shout. I mean, I know Michael just mentioned it, but Tonali was absolutely exceptional. But realistically, I think if Milan come out of that game with a draw, I think they'll progress over 2 ties. I really do.
Yeah,
Cracks,
man. Do you know what?
Or just a blip.
It's interesting, Grizz, because first of all, your first question was psychological. I think this really, really helps Milan psychologically. I think when they beat Napoli in previous years, it's because it's this Napoli, and like Mo said, they're the bigger club. But I think when you're playing a Napoli team that you've got the whole of Europe talking about potentially winning the Champions League, and you go into their home backyard and beat them 4-0, it's definitely a statement psychologically, because this is more of a Napoli that is exceeding their own expectations. But like Sani said, Victor Osimhen, it just goes to show you how important he is to that team. You look at Giovanni Simeone, he scored a few goals earlier in the season, and Raspadori was doing all right earlier in the season. He's not really getting a look in now, but, you know, Osimhen is the key for them. I feel like, you know, when Van Dijk, and it's a perfect example, Van Dijk's not really the same player at the moment now as what he was 3 years ago before the injury, but he had that thing that everyone calls the aura. And, you know, players wouldn't want to take him on 1v1 because he just had that fear factor in the head. And I feel like when you play Napoli and Osimhen's there, he kind of gives the other teams that sort of sense of aura, because he's like, I'm going to win he makes you feel like he's going to win every header. He's strong, he's powerful. And with Simeone, it kind of makes you feel like, okay, this is going to be much easier. We can push up higher, do all the little things that just change the game slightly. So for me, obviously, Politano played on the right. Normally, it's probably Lozano at the moment. So there are 2 little changes Napoli could make. And then, like Michael said, topping it off, the atmosphere. That's a big thing. When you go to Naples, the atmosphere is what a lot of people talk about. So can Napoli respond? We'll see. But do I believe that they will go out and want to put on a performance? I do, because, you know, with the manager as well, you don't mess with a bald man when he's vexed. He's gonna be, you know, rifling them up the arse and saying, right, come on, you need to put on a good performance. But tactically, it's very interesting that Sani mentioned about the back three for Milan, because Rafael Leao done an interview on CBS, because obviously he speaks quite good English. He was speaking on the American channel after, and he said, we normally play a back three. However, the manager decided to play 4-2-3-1 today. And I prefer that. I prefer being on the left and being central because it gives me more space and I'm able to do what I want to do. And him saying that, being their star player for me in terms of the attacking transition, tells me they are sticking with the 4-2-3-1. They've got Empoli tomorrow night, and then they've got a couple of days rest, obviously, until they play the Champions League. They'll play a 4-2-3-1 tomorrow if I was Milan, and then you go into that game playing 2 games back-to-back in the 4-2-3-1 if your best player is telling you that he plays better in that formation. So for me, it was quite telling that obviously he came out and said that, because you don't really hear a lot of players, you know, say, oh yeah, I played well, I'm glad to score the goal. But him to say, no, we changed the tactics and it suited me. I was like, okay, this is very interesting going into the Champions League now. So yeah, I expect Napoli to bounce back in terms of a performance. But yeah, this is an open tie. I don't think this is a gimme. Like, I'm hoping, I don't know who they're playing with on the same night. I don't know who they clash with on the Champions League night. But I'm hoping it's the game that I want to watch, because I hope they're not playing, you know,
no, it's Real Madrid, Chelsea.
Oh, so I'm gonna have to try and watch both. Do you see what I mean? Like, I've got a predicament here because I want to watch both now. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting now.
I'm watching Leao though.
But check out both the games we've lined up already. Like, we've talked about Bayern, Man City, already intriguing. We're talking about Napoli, Milan. And of course, we must go on to Inter, Juve. Like, wow, even Stevens, but that wasn't the talking point. Like, the game was okay. Like, well, Mo, this is your team, so take it away. Like, performance-wise, you go to Juve, it's a very good result, but a lot of controversy and talking points preceded this game.
Before we get to the talking point, we actually went to Juventus and actually controlled the game, created some chances, should have scored, but our strikers are dead. Lautaro Martinez is dead.
Oh, I hate him.
He is not a top striker. And I keep saying this, and people say, no, you're a hater. I don't like the guy. I don't think he's a top striker at all.
He's really not.
And Ketcher's better than him. That's what I have to say. That guy.
When he thinks
I'm serious. He's really not.
No, 100% he's better than him.
Yeah, he's really not that guy, to be honest.
Like always throws his little bombs in and see how many people he can kill.
But Allegri though played his typical ball, defended the whole game, took his chance and scored. Their XG is 1, they scored 1. It's as simple as that. So it's a simple ball. But however, what happened at the end of the game, if people didn't watch it, a handball on Bremer, non-questionable, nobody complained or anything. He jumped and he misjudged the ball and he handled the ball. Penalty kick, Lukaku goes to take it, the fans are screaming. We don't know what happened, but all we know at that point is that the fans keep shouting. It's very loud, and he does his own celebration, this is his celebration, and he does it with Belgium, he does it with everybody. He used to do it with Chelsea, and he gets a second yellow because he got a caution before, and he gets sent off, and now it's boiling out. Players are fighting. The game ended after that. It was the last minute of the injury time, and Handanovic gets in with Cuadrado, who was involved before with Lukaku as well. And they said, look, Cuadrado punches Handanovic, is the captain, 40 years old, the goalkeeper, the backup goalkeeper now. And Handanovic pushes him back, 2 red cards. And then videos surface after the game that there was racist chants and monkey chants in the stands before, during, and after the penalty kick was taken from that stand of the Juventus stand, which I think it's the south stand of Juventus Stadium, the ultras of Juventus. And nobody said anything about it. Like, the Juventus club didn't say anything about it. The federation didn't say anything about it. Even Inter didn't say anything about it, which is very strange. And that reflects how they treat racism in Italy. It happened before to Balotelli from Inter fans. Let me just mention that. It happened before from Genoa fans. It happens from all over Italy. But the problem is the referee didn't hear it and he cautioned Lukaku, and nobody said anything after. Normally there is a statement, and it's boiling because Juventus fans and ultras and everybody is saying, no, that didn't happen. It's just individuals, and no one is condemning what happened, like, officially. And it's a big problem. And Lukaku, they tried to appeal it, and the appeal got rejected today, which is a big problem.
Did it?
And that's a big problem. So
Ridiculous.
today, I think, yes, exactly. And they said that he provoked the fans, but it's his normal celebration, and he didn't say anything. He said a couple of words to the fans, but that's not something that is abnormal. But anyway, this game, it's always like this with Juventus and Inter. It's always like this. It's always controversial. The problem is, and I'm gonna say this because I'm an Inter fan, we are proven not to be a guilty team always, and Juventus are always the people that bribe the referees, make something shady, and it's always a problem with them with something like this. And in Italy, this has to stop. It's something that is in the community. I don't live in Italy, but I go to Italy a lot, and I know what happens, especially with the people of color in Italy. But I know the fact is the videos are there, the chants are there. You can't deny it. It's there, but nobody said anything. Shame on the Italian Federation. Shame on the people that did this. And this has to stop. Someone has to do something about it, but they're not.
You said it very well. Shame. You ended that explanation. Thank you very much for explaining everything that actually happened as opposed to hearsay and whatnot. And you're right. It's a shame. It's shocking. It's shocking that how they've tried to cover it up. And, you know, you spoke about the referee not hearing anything. Like, wow. So can I get this right, guys? And forgive me because I didn't watch it. I saw the highlights and the incidents. That is Lukaku's celebration, right?
Yeah.
So what's the legal ruling of giving that yellow card? Does anyone know?
They said
provocative celebration. It is called that. It's called provocative celebration.
Remember, they did it to Moise Kean. I think it was against Cagliari, and the fans were being racist to him. And then afterwards, you even had guys like Bonucci coming out saying, maybe he shouldn't."
Oh my god, I had this conversation with my boy. Bonucci said he shouldn't have been celebrating like that.
When he's getting abused.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem, Grizz. Here's the problem.
Vinicius is not allowed to dance.
Yeah.
Moise Kean's not allowed to celebrate like that. Lukaku can't even put his lips to his mouth to say "shut up."
But here's the problem. This was a second yellow in Derby d'Italia, the biggest game in Italian football. The referee should have been smarter. You know, if it's a first yellow and he knew he had a yellow before, why are you sending him off? You already cautioned him. It's the last second of the game. It's the 3rd minute of the injury time, and you already gave 3 minutes. It's the referee is provoking the situation.
The referee has provoked the situation.
Which is unbelievable, to be honest. And it always happens against Juventus. Like, if he wasn't cautioned before and he gave him a yellow, that's fine. We understand this. But he's not even, he didn't move, by the way, he didn't move an inch to the fan. He took out the penalty and stood where he is.
Yeah,
exactly. He didn't go to, it's not like he did at Adebayor running the whole pitch, go to the fans and doing all of that.
So let me tell you,
was celebrating.
Can I ask you something, Mo,
before you go on, let me explain something that I forgot to explain. There is a statement that happened that about the yellow card, not about the racist. He said that the referee said that Lukaku started a fight. Okay, that's why I gave him the yellow. So the first one was provocative celebration. The second one was, and that shows you that he wanted to give him a red card. He wanted to please somebody. Okay. The second, it's an official thing. They said the referee's commission or something that he started a fight. There's a clear video that Lukaku didn't start the fight. He walked away from the scene. It wasn't him.
You know what? This is why I wanted to ask you, man. It's actually on that situation. I've seen the video, which everyone has seen, and Cuadrado is like kind of trying to find his way around to him. How's Cuadrado involved in it? And is he the one pushing the ref to give the second yellow? Because he weren't booked until then.
Cuadrado, Lukaku, whenever you see him on site, on that video, I watched it, 2 minutes of it. Cuadrado, you little weasel. Yeah. If I see you, watch. That's what
I'll be pulling out them plats quick.
Bro, nah, this guy is not.
Ratty behavior from Cuadrado, ratty behavior from the Italian Federation, ratty behavior for all the fans that were giving the vile abuse. And big up Lukaku, he's been through hell and back. And if you're not allowed to celebrate your goal after receiving some of the abuse he's giving, and the way it's brushed under the carpet, and then get a yellow card on top and then get sent off, even if you got a yellow card, okay, you can, as Mo says, if you got a yellow card for that, no problem. Right? But did you guys see? Yellow.
Sorry to interrupt. Did you guys see Mourinho? Because also, it's not just black people that get abused. Serbian Vlahovic one time, I remember doing an interview, and all of the Italian fans were saying gypsy, gypsy, gypsy. They were doing it to the other fan as
It's a
the
massive
manager.
problem. It's a
Yeah.
huge
Dejan, you know what? Funny enough, Dejan Stankovic actually played for Mourinho.
Inter
Obviously,
Milan.
so
Yep.
yeah, they have a close relationship. And I see Mourinho coming out saying, like, putting his hand out, saying,
Yeah, he
like,
was doing
don't,
that.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But do you know what as well? And I know, obviously, we have a lot of this that goes on even in England and stuff, like racism in general across the world. But if I keep it to football, the only thing I did want to say on the game, Mo, is that I'm actually annoyed as well from a footballing spectacle, because as much as you're saying, obviously, Lautaro Martinez, I don't rate him either, and you don't. Edin Dzeko, we know that he has games where he's hit and miss. Lukaku in a second leg, that could make the difference. I know he missed a lot of chances, but if he's on his game and he's like fired up, imagine you got a yellow and he, like Grizz said, he didn't get sent off. He knows what's gone on, so he's going to be even more fired up to prove a point. He's not even actually going to get that opportunity to prove a point, and it kind of stings the second leg because he's a game changer at times, and I'm kind of annoyed at that side of it.
I am annoyed as well. Anyway, I know that Grizz wants to go, but it's a shambolic
well,
situation, to be honest. It's a
It is a shambolic situation, and I hope Inter go through now. I'm very, very much on Inter's side in the second leg. Just very quickly, I want to get Michael's quick overview on what the hell is happening in PSG. Poetry, as far as we're concerned, we love this. Like, that club is just horrendous. Mbappe coming out and saying, why are you using me in promo videos for next season? It's not about me. Messi leaving practically. Neymar, what's going on with Neymar? What is going on with PSG, or is this what we expected?
Same New Year, same PSG. What else do you want me to say? I mean, this club is just a mess. It's a mess. Messi's trying to get a new contract. He's rejecting it. We see Al Hilal trying to offer 400 million to him, which is crazy to me. 400 million a year. Oh, football, man. But PSG, there's nothing new with this club. It's a failed institution. That's what PSG is. It's a failed institution. They're lucky that Marseille has fumbled. They're lucky that Lens has fumbled. Or PSG would probably not win Liga, and they would go trophyless this season.
Wow.
That would be bad. And they're just booing Messi because obviously, look, PSG fans don't really care about what you've done for Barcelona, what you've done for Argentina. They care what you do for PSG. I can understand you vent your frustration. I mean, vent your frustration at the owners, because the owners have created this whole mess. They keep buying these superstars, and they think it's somehow going to work. Like I said, and I think we've talked about it before on the stream, they need to completely go in a new direction in the summer, just do the same thing as Germany. Buy the best talent in Liga. They could have a team of Tchouameni and Camavinga if they were just smart with their business in the last couple of years. That would be a ridiculous midfield. But now, they got Vitinha and an injury-prone Sanchez and Verratti. This is PSG at the moment. I mean, what else do you want me to say?
Guys, they've lost to a team. They've lost to a team with Lovren and Lacazette.
I mean, Lyon are terrible.
Killing it in Ligue 1.
Lyon are terrible. They're ninth in the Ligue 1. So this is not... Yeah. They're terrible.
They're not even one of the better teams in France. This is not that Lyon that everyone has.
No. They're in huge trouble, actually, Lyon.
May long it continue.
They've got the Crystal Palace owner, right, Leon? I think Textor.
Yeah, it's the American guy. Yeah, Textor. Yep.
Yeah. Listen, but Lyon academy products are ridiculous. Time after time, they're churning them out.
And this Shirky guy is a baller.
Yeah, Ryan Shirky, he needs to
18.
He needs to sell more because he's got the talent of an absolute elite baller. But we've seen a lot of those French players that have come through and like not quite made it. But as Mo says, man, long may it continue. La Liga, PSG.
It's not over, by the way. I'm just going to put it out there. The league.
You reckon?
They're 6 points. Yeah, but hear me out. Just in 2 weeks' time, it might be. They've got Nice away on the weekend, PSG. Nice are a bit up and down, exactly. But on their day, Nice can get a result. Then the week after that, PSG Lens. If Lens win this weekend and PSG don't, they're 3 points in it. And then if Lens go and beat them next week, they're level on points. I'm not saying they're going to go on and win it, but I'm just saying in terms of the 6 points, yeah, they're away.
I'm not living in a world where they go trophyless this season. I'm not living in that world because if that happens, oh god.
The thing is, right?
Is real then.
If we see what's going on here, Lens have only lost 3 games all season. It's the draws.
They've won their last 3. They beat Rennes away last week, and that was a big away win, 1-0.
Massive. Come on, Lens. It's the draws that have killed them. They look.
I actually am going to watch that game next week, PSG Lens next week. I actually am intrigued to see what the Lens play.
Eurostars people, make sure.
We got on so fun, to be honest, right?
We got a scout. We got our own scout next week at the PSG Lens game in Tyrone.
What
were you going to say, BILAL?
Oh,
No,
go
I'm
on,
just
go on.
saying, League One is just a fun league, man. You just look at the teams, it's just like,
It's not fun. It's a bum league, man. Get out of
nah,
here.
it's fun if you enjoy young players. You enjoy like Bundesliga was like that for a bit, but the difference with League One, it's got that physicality. But I'm not promoting them because they're bums for what they've been doing with the, fasting and all of that.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, horrific.
guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I mean, 2023, man.
It's
This is
everywhere.
mad.
It's crazy, isn't
It's
it?
embarrassing, and how it's just brushed over. It's actually embarrassing, actually. But yeah, listen,
Grizz, can I make
Aaron,
one
we
last
would
comment?
love to do that, but we gotta go. Sorry, what were you gonna say, Michael?
I was just going to say, shout out to Roger Schmidt. He signed a new contract with Benfica till 2026. Fully deserved.
There you go.
Only one
Bit of-
loss this season.
Bit of Portuguese in there as well. Brilliant. Aaron, we will do this another time, and I'm so sorry we run out of time. Aaron is an avid subscriber and watcher of the channel. So big up, Aaron. We'll do this another time. Guys, this has been another episode of Eurostars. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. We will be back next week. Is Champions League starting next week?
Yeah, so next
Yeah.
Wednesday will be on after the Chelsea game.
Sugar
You-
plum
that
plum.
international break was depression, but you realize how much football we have after it. That is crazy.
Madness. Chelsea, Madrid. And what's the other game? Only one game.
No, they're all
All of them
playing.
are Tuesday and
Two
Wednesday.
all
on
of
Tuesday,
them.
2 on Wednesday.
Hella show lined up.
Mm.
Hella show lined up, people. We're back. Thank you, Bilal. Thank you, Sane. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Ty. Thank you, Mo. People, like if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't, all of that good stuff. We see you soon. Take care. Eurostars.
I'll see you tomorrow, Grizz.